This is Santorini.
We've only been in the room 5 minutes. Kitchen.
We got complimentary wine fruit.
Upstairs to the boudoir.
Le bed.
View from the bed.
After we'd settled into our room, we stopped off at a local taverna to have something to eat. Mina had spaghetti bolognese, I had spaghetti carbonara, and we had our first taste of Greek wine, which quite went to our head because it was the middle of the afternoon. Now, one of the favourite modes of transport on the hillsides of Santorini is the hardy mule, a robust and sturdy animal, as any £300 American tourist will attest to. But when you get herds of these cute little animals clip-clopping up the steps all day, they have a habit of leaving behind messages to let you know they've been there. So you have to be very careful where you're walking. And the last thing you need when you're puffing and panting like the winner of an Olympic sprint is to be gulping up copious amounts of the pungent aroma that comes from what I will politely call donkey doo-doo. It was 6 o'clock as the bells from the Catholic church at the top of the hill informed us, and we were knackered and ready for bed. It was going to be a busy day tomorrow because we'd booked a 6-hour tour of the island with Nikos Sergios, our private tour guide. The yellow X is where we had breakfast and the red X was our room.
Right at the top of there is ancient Thera. Here is Kamari Beach. This is the most popular beach. It's where all the high soul people go. It's a black sand beach, obviously, because it's all volcanic.
We couldn't get up to Ancient Thera because the road was closed, so our next stop was the Panagia Episcopi Church in Gonia. And I must point out that the people who live in Gonia are not called gonads. There are 350 private churches on the island. Now, when we got to the church, we met this incredible little old lady, but Nikos warned us there might be a problem.
She thinks if she speaks loud, you will understand.
You see? 92 years old, and she was born around here.
In the village, yeah, a little further.
Yeah,
in the village. She spent almost all her life in this church.
The chapel was built in the 11th century, and these paintings that you're looking at now, these wall paintings, are originals. And in the volcano of 1956, a lot of the area around here was damaged and destroyed, whereas this church, this chapel, was relatively untouched. There's almost no crime on the island, apart from some of the icons that were taken off the top here. How many years ago was it they were taken, Nikos?
What did this clip say? 29 years ago, exactly.
29 years ago, and they've never been found.
Yeah.
Santorini pussycats. It's like they're everywhere.
So this is where they used to christen the babies, and this is where they used to sacrifice the lambs.
And still do when they celebrate Greek Orthodox Easter. Now, when we arranged the tour with Nikos, I made it quite clear that we wanted to get a feel of the place, not just the touristy stuff, but a bit of the history. So he very kindly took us to his own village where he was born, where they still live in the cave houses, which they carved out of the rocks many, many years ago for protection from the regular earthquakes.
Okay.
Ωραία, φτάσω το κλειδί.
Ωραία, πες τον ότι δεν μένουμε εδώ. Εδώ ερχόμαστε.
Εγώ τους είπα ότι μένετε εδώ,
Φτάσω λίγο να πιάσω το κλειδί του.
Beautiful. This is a cave. We're in a cave. Kalimeri. Kalimeri?
Καλημέρα!
What's her name? Yeah.
Dimitra.
Dimitra!
Dimitra.
Dimitra.
Ah.
Dimitra.
This is the bedroom.
That's an nato, nato.
Electricity, so they use an electric oven. But years ago, when we had no electricity, it was a wooden oven right over here.
Yeah.
The chimney was going up this way. So all the food it was prepared right in this area.
Dimitra was really excited to show us her collection of photographs, and especially a photograph that she had of Nico when he was a young man.
Who is this?
Mom and dad, the grandfathers.
Uh-huh.
Okay. This is their children, which are pretty old now. Okay.
Just in front of their house there used to be a winery, but it's all derelict now, so we left Dimitra still rummaging through photographs to go and have a look at it.
So,
Oh, wow.
I was born probably right over here.
Really?
Yes.
So
exactly.
this used
right
to-
here. They make this like they used to be like a little bed.
So that's your little bed there?
Yes, exactly. So I was born in the cave like that in a winery, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were carrying the grapes here. They were stepping on the grapes, and the wine it was going right over here, this place.
Mm-hmm.
From here, they were picking the wine and putting it in the bottle.
And that's an old wine press there. Now if you listen very carefully you can hear all the swarms of wasps that were everywhere. So after we'd looked at the wine cellars, we went back, and Dimitra was really happy that she'd finally found a photograph of Nikos when he was young. Next stop, off to see the local bread maker.
So this Mr. Jan. And how long has he had this place?
About 55 years.
55 years. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
From the oven?
straight from the oven.
Εντάξει.
Then after a quick coffee break,
Nikos is taking us to the local radio station and TV.
Volcano TV, Radio Santorini.
And what's your name, if you don't
My
mind?
name is Despina.
The music you play is for the 10 years old.
It's for teenagers, for the Greek teenagers of Santorini, and not only because they can hear us also through the internet, but it's mostly Greek.
after we'd had a quick chat with the on-air DJ, we went downstairs to look at the local TV station. A bit archaic, but it works. So after a quick goodbye, we were off to meet more friends.
Thank you.
Ευχαριστώ.
I don't want to sound like a tourist, but everybody was so nice. Where we are right now is at this beautiful 5-star hotel at the highest point of the island where loads of people get married. Here we are at one of the very many yards. I can do this. Here we are at one of the many vineyards in Santorini, and as you can see, the vines grow a little differently. Why is that, Nikos?
To protect the grapes from the hot storm winds that we have in August. We kind of force the grapes to grow inside the baskets. This way they don't hit by the hot storm winds. Okay. Also, by being small bushes like that, they don't need too much water to grow.
A little bit further down the island, we stopped at this amazing hotel that's just being built. Looks like something out of Star Wars, and apparently the owner's not in it for the money. Nikos reckons he's going to be renting out the holiday homes at just €40 a night. And that guy there built the place almost single-handedly, and believe it or not, he's the owner, and he's also a millionaire. Mind you, I guess a lot of the islanders are wealthy when you consider that there's only 3,000 of them and there are 30,000 tourists at the height of the season. Now what did I tell you about Star Wars? Look at that. Here! No, I'm not trying to get your attention, that's where we were. Here! The most popular site for marriage proposals, and I can prove it. Mind you, I can imagine it'd be a bit difficult with all the bloody winds they have up there.
Darling, will you
marry me? What? I said, will you marry me? Eh? I said, will you marry me, you daft... Oh, sod it, I'm going to the pub. That's where Mina was sat, right at the top of that old Venetian castle, which was used in Tomb Raider right at the beginning of the movie. Took us about 6 hours to get around the island, and we pretty much saw everything there was to see. So after a fabulous day, we stopped off at the supermarket and got a bottle of Santo wine, which comes from the vineyard we were at earlier on. It's a fruity little wine made to be drank early. Well, it was already 7:45, so that was early enough. So we sat back and freezing our tits off, waiting to see one of those sensational Santorini sunsets. I wanted to see the remains of the ancient Minoan society in Akrotiri on the south side of the island that some say is what's left of the legendary Atlantis. But unfortunately the site was closed to the public, so instead we went to the National Museum, which houses a lot of the artifacts found in Akrotiri. After we'd been to the museum, we had a great time there. We got the cable car down to the old port on our way to go and see the volcano, which last erupted in 1956.
Or if you choose not to take the cable car, then you can walk the 370 steps or something like that down, or get a donkey.
When we disembarked from the boat, we had a very short time to get to the top of the volcano, and it was a big volcano, fully expecting that when we got to the top, the volcano would be spurting and bubbling fire and brimstone, because it is an active volcano. But apparently the only way they know it's active is because there's a couple of hot springs around it. But the view is magnificent, and it was a bit thrilling being on a live volcano, a bit of sense of danger there. And some of the rock formations were incredible. The Nia Khomeini is 127 meters high, and we made it to the top and back in less than an hour. Next stop was the hot springs. After our trip to the volcano, we returned home, getting the cable car. And by the way, I haven't speeded that up. That's how fast it was going.
The wine tastes a little like ginger with pine nuts, and it's a very light drink, but it's supposed to be quite dangerous. Now I'm having moussaka, a traditional Greek dish now, and Mina's having spaghetti marinara.
After we'd had a lovely dinner, it was time to make our way home on a cool, balmy evening, taking a gentle stroll. Not!
Gotcha!
Go inside, it's very cold.
Really? Heaven
A lot better. Air conditioning.
for you.
I know. Oh my god.
In the 17th century BC, a tremendous volcanic eruption destroys the prehistoric city of Akrotiri and interrupts life on the island, which remains deserted for centuries. In the 8th century BC, during the historic times, Callisti, as it was called then, was inhabited by Dorian settlers from Sparta. Their leader, Therus, gives his name to the island. The excavations reveal the form of the city during the Hellenistic Roman times. The continuous inhabitation destroyed the remains of more ancient periods, apart from a few exceptions, as for example, the archaic inscriptions carved on the rocks, witnesses of the earliest Greek alphabet in the Aegean.
This is lunch. This is called a gyro, and it's pita bread with pork, tzatziki, French fries. Breakfast: hard-boiled egg, toast, and honey. I'll show you the yogurt in a minute, the best thing in the whole wide world. Greek yogurt is the best yogurt I've ever tasted in my whole life. Look at this. It's like cream cheese or cream, and just a slight tang of yogurt in it. And if you have it with honey, it's excellent. These are the back streets at 8:30 in the morning when there's no tourists around. So quiet. Most of the shops are not even open. First thing that I spotted was these ancient binoculars found in Akrotiri. Now it's time to say goodbye to Santorini, and after having a wonderful time, if not exhausting time, and drinking a little bit too much wine, it's time for us to go with one last look at the view.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.